We're joined by political analyst Dr. Zamokuhle Mbandlwa. Dr. Mbandlwa, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on the Weekend Report this morning. I want to start with the state capture report. Of course, we know that final installment landed at the Union Buildings in about June this year. And this was, of course, 3 years after the Commission started its work, R1 billion later to the cost of taxpayers. I wonder if you are of the view that the report in its entirety, the work of the Commission, lived up to the expectations of South Africans.
Good morning, Ntokozo, and good morning to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed, we had high expectations with regards to the state capture report. In fact, by this time, we were hoping that maybe people will be behind bars, those who have been implicated, those who have been found to have done wrong things or have been used public funds in a wrong way. But unfortunately, it's not the case. Well, also, remember, the establishment of the State Capture Commission was also political in its nature as well. So, of course, even if the report might have pointed out a few individuals who might be prosecuted, but because of the political nature of the state capture establishment itself, then there was a political interference. Well, and also, the State Capture Commission itself did not actually go deep to look into the root cause of the state capture and then also to implicate all those who could have been implicated. It was very factional in nature because those who have been named to have done wrong things have not been brought to book. And even those who have been named to do wrong things are not even behind bars, they are not even prosecuted by the judiciary system.
I mean, as you've mentioned, the major criticism of the state capture report, or at least the Commission's work since its conclusion, is the fact that we haven't seen as many prosecutions as I think a lot of South Africans would have liked. I wonder what this does to the integrity of the Commission's work. Does it in any way erode what has been done and perhaps even put South Africans in a position where if future commissions of inquiry are established, that they will lack that public confidence?
Well, the establishment of the Commission is not a prosecuting entity. And again, what commissions do, they only recommend. And it's up to the relevant structures to follow up or to follow suit to what has been recommended. And in this particular instance, recommendations have been made, but nothing is happening. Perhaps we could not primarily blame the Commission itself, but maybe the government entities that should be able to take this up, or perhaps the ruling elite or those who are in leadership to take this up, because they should be giving instruction to the prosecuting authority to say these are the recommendations, do some investigations. Those who are found to have done wrong things must be brought to book. They must be afforded an opportunity to answer for themselves. But we have not seen that happening because of the political interference, as I've already mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Maybe in future, the establishment of the Commission should also be given some power to actually prosecute people, or maybe to directly link their recommendations with the prosecuting authority. We've seen that happening recently on the State Capture Commission, but it was not fully implemented. That particular idea was not fully implemented.
Indeed, a lot of things, Dr. Mbandlwa, falling through the cracks, not just the recommendations of the state capture report, but issues such as service delivery. If we were to look at things at a local governance level, service delivery certainly falling through the cracks this year because of coalitions in a lot of these municipalities failing really to come together and to live up to the expectations of the voting blocs that put them in those positions of power. What do you make of, the state of party coalitions, multi-party coalitions in our local governments as they are right now? And of course, looking forward to 2024, where there's a lot of talk that coalitions may be the future of South Africa's political landscape.
Thanks, Dogozo. Well, I concur with those who are saying the coalition is the future of the political landscape of the country. While on the other side, I'm also thinking that the coalitions in the local governments have failed, dismally failed. And I think the country was not prepared or ready for the coalition government. And even the political parties themselves, they were not ready to co-govern the municipalities. And let alone if we find ourselves in the same situation after the elections in 2024, then we'll find ourselves in a very difficult situation. Well, the sad truth is the public or the citizens are at the bitter end, because they are the ones who are suffering because of the coalition government. They are the ones who are suffering because of the lack of leadership in local government. And well, the main problem, Togozo, is not that they cannot lead in the coalition government. The main problem is all political parties want to be seen as the ones who are in the leadership position. At the same time, the negotiations are not at the interest of the people. When political parties negotiate, they are not negotiating because they want to better the lives of the people, but they negotiate because they want to access resources, they want positions in the local government. Political party A will say, we will support you, but we want the deputy mayor, we want a mayor, we want the positions in the EXCO. So that is the main reason, not necessarily because they are working together to better the lives of the people. And that is the main problem, that's why they cannot work together. Otherwise, if all of them were actually fighting for the main cause, which is to better the lives of the people and the local government, they were not going to fight amongst themselves. But because they prioritize the political party interest at the expense of the needs of the people on the ground, that's why they keep fighting. And I see this happening in the national government, because people now have lost trust in the ruling political party, because it's very difficult for the ruling political party to go around and campaign and say the same thing that they've been saying over and over again. You can't promise a person the same thing that you have promised 5 years ago, 10 years ago when you were campaigning. And again, the coalition government is imminent. And when we see the coalition government in 2024, it will also disrupt the public service delivery, simply because they will not be working together to achieve or to serve the interest of the people on the ground. They will be competing, they will be negotiating about who will become the president, who will be the deputy president, who will be the speaker and the cabinet ministers at the expense of the needs or the needs of the people on the ground.
Yeah. Well, talking about the governing party and this sort of internal fracas that has been taking place within the organization, the Phala Phala scandal loomed quite heavily over the organization as it went into its elective conference a few weeks ago. It's still hanging over its head as it goes into its January 8th celebrations in a couple of days. Talk to us about how the ANC managed to handle the Phala Phala saga, and at the same time speak to how opposition parties were able to at least, use that as an opportunity really to really sort of clamor up a real force of attack against the governing party.
Yes, because you see, I will say the ruling political party is scoring their own goal because with regards to the issue of the Phala Phala farm, the manner in which this particular issue have been handled have shown the country once again that they are not prioritizing the interest of the people, or they are not applying the law in a manner that we could have expected the citizens of the country. But they have prioritized the political party again. And that alone is going to be a problem when they are campaigning, because people actually have seen what has happened and how the matter has been handled. And I wonder how they will actually make people understand that the Phala Phala is not a problem. Having money in your house in dollars is not a problem. You will not be prosecuted, because these particular laws apply to all citizens of the country. And if it was somebody else, I'm sure that particular individual was going to be prosecuted, was going to attend court cases, or maybe that individual is going to be behind bars. But because this particular position of being a president allows the president to actually do things in a different way and also not being held accountable for his actions.
Well, Dr. Mbandlwa, very quickly, we are running out of time. How do you see the private prosecution issue sort of wrapping up? We have a former president gunning for a current sitting president, threatening private prosecutions. We know that Ramaphosa's legal team has already sort of put up a court application wanting the court to declare Zuma's efforts unlawful.
Yeah, the court cases or the judiciary issues that is hanging above the heads of the former president and the current president is a political problem. Simply because there are things that they are actually fighting against which we do not know. And if you look at how they speak in public, they pretend as if everything is fine. They don't have hard feelings against each other. But by the look of things, the manner in which they have anger against each other actually means that there is something going on. And I think the judiciary system cannot actually deal with the problems that are currently happening between the president and the former president. And you know, I'm saying this because the current president will actually do everything that he could do to fight against this particular private prosecution. And as the chief, as a commander-in-chief of the country, he commands all the state institutions. And I don't think the NPA will actually allow the current president to fail when he's saying that he wants to take this into judicial review, right, or whatever that he wants to do. He will obviously gain a support, and we wouldn't want to be on the other side right, with the current president. Yeah. Right.
Well, Dr. Mbandlwa, thank you so much for your time, of course, for coming on to this morning's program and sharing your insights with us. That was political analyst Dr. Zamokuhle Mbandlwa.